7 of Future Frenzy. I'm your host, Sven Patzer. Today we have with us Lara Webhe, who is a software engineer with ML specialty, and she's an AWS community builder. Thank you for being on the show today. And we're super excited to have you. So I guess to begin, would you mind giving us a brief overview of what your speculations for GPT-5 are?
Thank you, Sven, for having me today with you. I'm super excited as well. So ChatGPT 5 has been not officially released or spoken about that it's gonna be released by end of 2023, but rumors have been said that its training will be done by December, by the end of 2023. And also, some rumors say that it's going to be so close to the AGI, which is the artificial general intelligence. And this is the point where, in fact, GPT-5 makes the big difference, if you want, by means of capabilities and so on. So the main point of GPT-5 is that it's closer to the AGI. And what does AGI means? If while speaking about it by means of a simple definition, it is about having a large language model or any other AI agent that's able to do the human tasks, more than one task at a time, with the same human behavior, conceptualities, capabilities, and so on.
Is
Actually, sorry, go ahead.
so I guess my first question, just hearing that prompts my interest. And so are you referring to GPT-5 as sentience of artificial intelligence in a way?
Oh, sentient. Can you elaborate more about this, please?
So sentience in that the AI would have its own personality. And
That's
it's
a good question. Yeah. Um, Actually, it might be this way because, as we said, we're talking about a general artificial intelligence model, which has the ability to, for example, you can give it a task like, I have this business idea. Go yourself, find the first step that you need to take, then go follow the order, so on and so forth. So it's gonna have actually, its own personality by means of an AI agent that's able to shape the word in another way. It's like it's being said to be the holy grail of AI in the coming years, in the coming AI revolution.
so I think what this may be is something like somebody somewhere has Zapier hooked up to Chat GPT-4, hooked up to like a super fast computer, and so on and so forth, that's able to have these tasks automated. But I think the broader aspect of what GPT-5 could be, then you're saying, so I could say, hey, please search like about this topic and then utilize it in my email to so and so at this email address. Is it
Yeah.
that? And my the question I have is, how intuitive do you think a system like that could be, and why, parameter wise and training wise and more?
Yeah, of course. That's a good question, actually. Going back to the first example you stated, Sven, is that now you have a plugin for Zapier, for example, linked to GPT-4, and then you have another automation script that does this and that and that. Now, each one of them is actually called a narrow AI. So today we are in the era of narrow AI. When we speak about AGI, which is the general artificial intelligence, and what we are aiming to have, hopefully, in GPT-5 by the end of 2023, is having one agent to be, as you said, intellectually able and intellectually capable with self-intuition to be able to do this and that without you to hook up these agents together. So this is what we're aiming for by means of GPT-5 in terms of also AGI. Now, by means of parameters, also it's spoken that today GPT-4 is trained on millions and billions and trillions of parameters. Now, when we go to GPT-5, we are talking about 100 times more by means of parameters, and you can imagine this is a numerous number. This is a great number, and by means of computation also it requires more than 10 times of the computational power that GPT-4 is trained on today, which means that you need at minimum times two of the whole supercomputers that we have in our world now. For this reason, it's taking time, and it is suspicious until now because OpenAI actually didn't give an official release or didn't give official news about it, but it
Oh.
was yeah, it was only rumors between people. Let's say it's under the table. People are some professionals. I can't remember the name of the man that was. It was shared on Twitter. Actually, it was a tweet. I was reading about it lately. That yeah, GPT-5 is in progress right now, and it is all actually. They are trying to make it learn from itself. So now there are limitations in the narrow AI that we have today, which is it cannot learn from itself. The more complex the scenario, the more it fails, the more it starts hallucinating and giving us mistakes, because by the end of the day, GPT-4 is still reliable on the data set it has. And the data set it has will have some limitations. What they are aiming for in GPT-5 is for a language model or an AI agent to be able to learn from itself, like exactly like the human behavior. It's trying to mimic the human behavior into a better instinct, you know? So, yeah, I believe that it's going to have its specific personality by means of AI, and it might be able to pass the Turing test. Although the Turing test doesn't have a lot of perception, a lot of memory, but intuitively, if GPT-5 was able to pass the Turing test, it might be so close to be in the AGI, which is one man of a team. It's gonna be one AI agent to do multiple tasks in one shot.
So I guess when you speak of GPT-5 and having trillions of parameters,
Yeah.
um, my my first question is, as somebody, I thinking back to my machine learning basics class, a lot of the focus was on, could the model be too generalized because you're feeding it too much to go off of. But I think that what you're kind of insinuating is that if there's enough computational power and enough training done, that it doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, actually, the more we feed the model with data, the more we have more computational power, everything is possible. This generalization was previously limited by computational power, it was limited by data. Today, we are in the future of data. Like as the CEO of Google, he says that data is the future oil, and we can see this today. Like now we have GPT-3 or GPT-4. In one API call you can make it generate numerous amount of data, but and also when you know how to use it, like what scientists now are able to use them, and for example maybe generating data for GPT-5. And here a lot of let's say a lot of issues could be raised, like by means of the ethical use of data, the data being precise, being true, not having outliers, and so on and so forth. I think this is out of scope of your question, but yeah, when we have
That's
good
interesting.
yeah, but when we have a good amount of data and good amount of computational power, yeah, it's definitely doable. Now this of course is gonna cause a lot of electricity by means of power for fuel to power on these stations. Like if we are talking now about zeta something of computational power, which is something really huge. My mind, I think, can't put it in one place, you know.
Yeah, this is certainly So, okay, I have to take a step back a little bit.
Yeah,
The first question I have is, are they are they pulling so much data that like, is that why Italy got mad? Because they're pulling that much data that like whole countries are getting like upset by the obscene amount that's being trained.
of
Uh
course.
or really? So I
Yeah,
mean
of
I
course.
knew that and I spoke about it, but how far did they really take that, and how far do you think they might be taking it under the like
This
then
topic
we
is really
know.
interesting. Yeah, this topic is really interesting, because the issues of data are really critical. Imagine that our data online, who knows if our credentials are being shared, our preferences, our recommendation systems, everything is being shared online. So these people are fetching these data into their systems and letting us use this system that in fact we are contributors without us being known, because when I share my posts on LinkedIn, when I share my tweets on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, on my articles on Google, so on and so forth, someone
Wait.
is yeah, someone is taking this data in order to feed them to GPT-3, 4, 5. We don't know what versions we're going to see in the future. So
Okay.
imagine then we are contributors to this process, and then now we have to pay to using this product while we are under the hoods part of this contribution. So I think they have the right to be mad, especially because their OpenAI didn't until this moment, until April 4 or April 3, it didn't until now reveal any information that proves it is still being aligned with the JTBR rules, with the data ethical uses, with the saving the client's credentials,
Oh, I don't believe
data
any of
privacy.
that. I don't believe any of that.
Yeah, exactly. And it is still until now not not revealing anything. So I think the decision of Italy first banning ChatGPT by means of data privacy and so on. Yeah, I think this must be taken into consideration. Now I'm not actually, this is my opinion. I'm not with banning any technology because technology is like a river floating. You cannot stop it from staying in progress, of course, but some regulations should be added on this data and how these people are using it, of course. Yeah, of course.
Well, so I mean, I have two huge questions that
Yeah,
stem from that have to be answered just because I think that people may have these questions and they don't have the ability to ask machine learning engineers about it. Like, for one, a big thing that was said about the OpenAI chat GPT usage is that like your personal information that would be inputted in there. And I've spoken with other AI people on this podcast before who were saying that your information is safe, but my theory is that maybe it's not. If they're training GPT-5 on GPT-4, then
mhm.
are they training it off of your input in any way? Like,
Yeah, this is a good question. Let me split my answer into two.
okay, okay.
First one, yeah, the first one is about our personal data is actually safe. I'm not sure if you heard about this issue that was in 20 March, where some people were able to see the credentials of other people trying to apply for GPT Plus because of a bug in Redis. So yeah, this was actually revealed, and I'm not sure if you remember the day where ChatGPT went completely down and people were just in like, how could ChatGPT be down? As developers, we cannot work. As marketing specialists, we're stuck, etc. They went down just to fix this bug because many people were able to see many other people credentials. Like imagine I can see your credit card information, for example, or maybe your passwords. So
That
by means
is
of yeah, And actually OpenAI has published an article on their yeah, exactly. This is
ChatGPT
one of the
leaks
articles.
credit card
Yeah,
data. Oh my gosh. That yeah, so
yeah.
that is pretty ridiculous. I had to put that up on the screen for just a second.
Course, yeah, just
Um,
just to prove it, I mean. So from
yeah.
my end, I have always told anyone that I know, please don't share any personal information of you on ChatGPT on prompts, even if even if it says it's end-to-end encrypted. I mean, these people didn't share any privacy rules they are using, so how could you trust them? You know, this is one part of the answer. Now, the second part is that are they using our data to train GPT-5? Can you imagine the amount of data that is generated just in the past 2 months from GPT-3 and now GPT-4? It is really a headache. It makes you think like, oh my God, where are we living? You know?
Mhm.
So actually, no answer. Is it a yes or a no? Only OpenAI can answer on that. They might say no because by means of data privacy, data security, we are keeping your data safe, etc., etc. Um, yeah, but who knows? No one knows actually. So what we must do for sure is to keep our sensitive data, our personal data safe.
So there then lies a question that I have
Yeah.
that may not even apply to strictly OpenAI because sorry, soda. Um,
No.
that might not even apply to OpenAI because I just saw Bloomberg came out with the 80 billion parameter model trained on their own data from 40 years of financial analysis and news,
Mhm.
which was enough to produce a model that was genuine. Um, my thinking and my concern is, what if we come out with GPT-5 and then people start, is there a possibility that people are training, and what is
Oh,
dark web data, and
yeah.
what's the difference between pulling dark web data and using it than doing it on a regular internet? I don't really know the difference as somebody who who isn't that technically involved. So do you have any more insight on what could possibly be the answer there?
Yeah, well, actually, speaking about the dark web data, it's illegal data. Okay, so it's some place where you don't you must not enter, you must not visit in the first place because it's an illegal place of data. And when your IP is exposed to this part, then Google might block your IP, Microsoft might block your IP. First is black data, dark web data. Sorry, is not a safe place. So for everyone listening to this, please don't visit dark web as a whole and don't use its data. Now,
Definitely
what?
not. Yeah, disclaimer.
Yeah, of course. And for as for OpenAI, if they are using dark web data, well, I don't think so. From my point of view, because they have well in the papers they have released, in the articles they have released, they have stated that they used GitHub, they used Google data, they scraped Google data, and Google, of course, is not dark web, so it's legal data, and they used books, ebooks that they have, and many other resources. The many other resources is the part that's hidden. It's the part that's missing. And I think it's the part that's causing a lot of scientists to be furious about the usage of OpenAI in data. I hope this answered your question.
Yeah, it does. I think maybe some of the data they're collecting now could be video data.
Yeah.
Because I know it was just text before, maybe to get to that next level of model and really pull all that data. I mean, I feel like there's a lot more code involved in a whole video than in an article.
Yeah,
Um,
of course. It might involve transcripts of videos, it might involve transcripts of audios, it might involve books, Reddit maybe, Reddit posts, LinkedIn
oh my
posts,
gosh.
Twitters. Yeah. Can you imagine the data generated by Twitter daily basis? I mean, we are living in a world like we are now 8 hours difference, you know? So while I'm asleep, you are generating data on Twitter. When you are asleep, I'm generating data on Twitter. So you can imagine it's like a 24 hours full-time job, nonstop. So the enormous amount of data available now, and GPT-3 is trained on it. GPT-3 is now able to generate more data from the one that it has. So if GPT-3 had, yeah, of course. So if GPT has now 1 billion data, it might be able to generate at least more 1 billion data. And of course, it can generate one. So imagine we are in a room, hundreds of us, each one of us generating 100 billion, 100 billion, 100 billion. You can't count them, I'm so sure. And it's mind-blowing, that amount of data that you could have. But by the end of the day, it really needs a human feedback. It really needs reinforcement learning, a human feedback to do this part of this is appropriate, this is not, this needs to be this needs to be removed, etc., etc.
Okay, so there is actually